Hello, beautifuls. Welcome. This is day 1 of this 5-day challenge on soul discovery. My name is Sarah. If you are new to this group or just joining this group for this challenge, I'm so glad that you are here. I'm the founder, creator of Autoimmune Tribe, and I help women with chronic illness find and dig deep into their soul for the deepest level of healing. Today, we are going to talk about underlying anger. And I really just want to take 1 second before I dive in today and just say how grateful I am for all of you for being here, for showing up, and for getting really freaking real with yourselves. Because soul discovery is not something that everyone is ready for, not something that everyone wants to do. And it does take a little bit of courage, a little bit of bravery just to show up. Even if you're listening today and you're not doing the exercise with us, that's okay. I just want to honor you and say, I see you. You are understood. You are here. You are seen. Thank you for being here. So when you signed up for this free challenge via email, you would have gotten a little page that came up that said you needed an Oracle card deck for this 5-day challenge. And I recommended Earth Magic. This is my first deck that I started with for Oracle cards. I love it. I still use it, although my collection has grown a lot larger since then. So if you want to go grab any Oracle card deck though, so this is just the one that I recommend, by all means use any deck that you have today. If you have any questions on that, please let me know in the comments and let me know that you're here. So let me know if you're listening live or you're listening to the recording and what your name is. I can see that in your comments. So let me know where you are, where you're from, and what deck you're going to be using today while we start to see where some of that underlying anger is in our bodies. So some of you maybe use your Oracle cards every single day. Some of you might have a brand new deck that you've never opened, and some of you might still be a little freaked out, and that's okay. Wherever you are on that spectrum, it is totally okay. If you have a brand new deck though, I would love for you guys, you can always pause this if you're listening to the recording, I'd love for you to go through and simply just, because sometimes they can be kind of sticky in the beginning, to go through and just look at each card individually. So you could take a few seconds, 10, 30, a whole minute on each card if you want. But I want you guys to just start to peel the cards apart a bit and look at them if it's a new deck, okay? If it's a deck that you've used all the time, don't worry so much about that. You'll just need to shuffle them up today. Okay. So like I said, today is all about releasing anger, finding some of that underlying anger. And I've heard so many women in this group, but also just in the autoimmune community in general, talk about how they're so frustrated with their diagnosis, or they're angry with a family member, or angry at themselves. And I'd love for you guys to put in the comments if you resonate with that. Do you feel like you have this anger that's kind of bubbling inside of you? And you might even be afraid to acknowledge it. It might be a little bit of this unwanted guest in your body. Let me know if that resonates with you. So I know personally that some of my anger was definitely an unwanted guest. I thought I was a happy person. I thought I was smiley Sarah Small, and I didn't have anything to be angry about. Or if I did, I released it right away. As I grew older, I realized that that was not the case, and that I was actually just holding this anger in my tissues. So we hear the issues are in the tissues, right? And so I was actually really fucking angry, but I didn't admit it to myself, and I certainly didn't release it. I just kept holding on until I came to a point in my life where I felt like I was going to have just a mental breakdown. Because I had held it in for so long, I didn't know even how to express it. I didn't know how to start to release it. I didn't know how to start to have a conversation with it. And it became something that was really debilitating for me. And I realized I was a fucking angry person. And you wouldn't have like seen it looking at me because I got a big old smile, right? But under those layers, there was this anger, this deep anger at myself. I was harming myself. I was angry at my mom. I was angry at my family. I was angry at the fact that I had these breakouts on my skin. I was angry that I had chronic illness and my body couldn't keep up the way it used to be able to. So I was freaking angry. And it's okay. That's what I'm here to say to you guys today, partially. is that it's okay to be angry. You're allowed to have those negative emotions. You're allowed to be fucking angry. Go shout fuck somewhere today. Maybe away from your kids, but like let that come out and it's gonna feel good. So what we're gonna do is I want you to just kind of reflect a little bit on where some of that anger may be in for you. Now you're gonna need a piece of paper. It can just be a scrap piece of paper and a pen. So again, if you're listening to the recording, you can pause and come back. If you're listening live, go grab it really fast. Piece of paper and a pen. And I want to just take a second here to write out some of this anger. So let it be a free flow of thoughts. It can be sentences, it can be a drawing, it can be bullet points on the things that you might be angry about that are just being held inside your body, that you are still freaking holding on to. So I'm just gonna take a second here for you guys to write that down. And I'm gonna participate with you. So let's all write down some of the things that we might be angry about. Okay, you can come back to this later if you want to, and you can continue to keep writing, but just for the time's sake today, I want you to have at least a few things on your page. There are mine. Money came up for me today. That was so interesting. I didn't know that would, because I've worked through a lot of money stuff, but I still felt like money has created some rifts in relationships with me in the past, so I feel like I'm still holding a little bit of this anger towards money. So if there's anything that you maybe surprised yourself with what you wrote on the page, drop it in the comments if you feel comfortable sharing with us, and let us know, what did you discover that you might be angry about today? So I want you guys to fold out that piece of paper, and it can, about this size, fold it a couple times. There's not really a right or wrong here. Hi Chelsea, hi Sammy, glad you guys are here. And then I like to put some sort of crystal, really any crystal, on top of that piece of paper, okay? So you can see it here. Do you have to have a crystal to do this? Absolutely not. This is for everybody. So you can go outside and grab a rock from the street and you can put a piece, just something between you and the piece of paper, okay? So put something on the piece of paper that's gonna just weight it down a little bit, okay? And I also want to know before we move on, did anyone have a hard time writing down what they were actually angry about? Were any of you like, I don't feel angry today. Maybe today's a really good day, right? Well, I want you to peel back the facade a little bit if you did struggle with that and really dig deeper inside of you. Maybe even close your eyes for a few seconds and then start to write and ask yourself, are you sure there's nothing that you're angry about, okay? So once you have that piece of paper, fold it up, bam, crystal on top. And what that does, crystal, stone, rock, whatever you want to use, it really is just this barrier between you and your fears. And it doesn't, again, have to be a crystal, but just grab something to there's a little bit of that barrier between you, the fear, the anger, okay? And so I want you guys to close your eyes once you have the stone, rock, crystal on top of the piece of paper. And we're just going to take a moment here with our eyes closed. And I want you guys to start to see yourself detaching from that anger. I like to see that stone or rock or crystal almost like this big weight that falls on this little string or cord of energetic attachment to my anger. And the weight of the stone is so heavy that it just snaps that cord so that the anger can just float away and be released. You can also see that crystal, stone, or rock kind of like this bubble that starts to emit from it, keeping you safe inside that bubble while the anger really just starts to let go. And just be present and a witness to any sort of feelings you're having right now, whether they're positive or negative. Sometimes when we release these emotions and do this deep inner work, some negative feelings come up, and that's okay. And just take another moment to visualize yourself detaching. You can even send it a little love message and say, I love you, but I no longer need you. I love you, but I set myself free. I love you, but you no longer serve me. And just starting to let that go. And then just open up your eyes. So what we're doing is we're going to recycle our anger into a new form of energy. So later today, or right after we hang up here, I want you guys to burn this piece of paper. And just like everything in life is energy, right? Energy is information that vibrates, and we are filled with energy. Everything around us holds an energy or a vibration. So does that anger. And so what you're going to do is that anger that has been put onto the page, detached from you, you're going to go hopefully outside and burn your piece of paper. And then that energy, right, cannot be created or destroyed, simply it's recycled. And so we're going to recycle that anger into a new form of energy that helps serve our soul and make us feel better and starts to support our healing. So we're going to use our oracle cards to help us do that recycling. So shuffle up your cards, and there are several ways to shuffle. You can shuffle just like I am right now. You can also just spread your cards out and pick that way. So do what feels most natural to you. And I want you to, as you're shuffling, close your eyes if you feel comfortable and confident enough with the shuffling. And you can just say in your head or out loud, I welcome something new into my life. One more time. I welcome something new into my life. And then bring your hands to the part of the cards that just feels best. And I want you to flip whatever card you're called to over. And I got wind activation. Did anyone else? If you're using earth magic, let us know what card you picked from your deck, and we'll just place it down in front of us. And then I want you to say, again, out loud or just repeating after me in your head, thank you for recycling my anger into something productive and healing. Thank you for recycling my anger into something productive and healing. Now I want you to look at this card and see what you notice. What do you notice about the card? What visuals are there? What sensation do you get in your heart? What part of the card or words of the card attract your attention first? And see if this card brings up anything for you as far as what you can actually turn this anger into. So I'm going to interpret my card as an example, but each of our cards are going to have different messages for us. This card, again, is wind. It's all about activation. And I actually see this part of the card in this kind of like fiery orangey color as my anger. And then this blue kind of like fresh, crisp air as literally like that recycling, right? And turning and transforming that anger into something different. So for me, I feel like I can take some of that underlying anger and the things that came up today on my piece of paper, and I can turn it into some energy to activate, right? To activate inside my core, my soul, into something more productive. So on a more personal level, I would say, okay, well, that anger that I have towards money for the issues that it's created in some of my relationships in my life, can I actually take that anger towards money in that situation? And can I activate it into inspiration? Or can I allow it to be my teacher? Can I allow it to teach me a lesson or expand my thinking? Or up level me as a person? Like, how can I use this as a lesson that's going to help me become the best person that I can be? So you're going to take this card and you're going to apply it to your own life. And I love just looking at the card first. And then if you want, you can go open that book up and you can see if there's anything in there that kind of paints a little bit more of a story. So I'll just look at this wind one for a second here. I don't often use the book at all anymore, but sometimes it's good to look at. And when I do look at the book, usually I just want to see what comes and jumps out to me versus reading line by line. And you can do it in your own way. So the line that jumped out to me first was, it activates the atmosphere and the world feels more alive when there is wind. And I love that, first of all, just in general. But this to me feels like this message that, like, I can feel more alive when the wind blows my anger away and when I release it versus holding it in my tissue and then feeling all this tension in my body. Also a message here just to take some deeper breaths, right? So maybe even visualizing, breathing in those sensations or experiences of anger and frustration, and then releasing it, recycling it into something new, something different. So again, love to hear what you guys got for your cards and what came up for you today. And then I love to use my essential oils in everything I do, but especially when I'm doing little rituals like this to help release some of that underlying anger. I love frankincense for this particular ritual because frankincense is the oil of truth. And so, like I said, I think a lot of us are probably going to have that challenge of saying, I'm not angry. I'm not an angry person. I'm a happy person. I'm an optimistic person. Beautiful. I love that. It's wonderful. But likely there is still something inside of your core that has been angry in the past and maybe has not been able to fully express itself and release itself. And so today you're really just recycling that. So there's no shame, there's nothing wrong, you shouldn't have any guilt for having that anger. So frankincense is the oil of truth. So just really being truthful with yourself. Are you angry at yourself? Are you angry at your family? Are you angry at your job? Are you angry at money? Are you angry at circumstances? You know, let all that out. And so what I'll do is I'll take a little bit of this frankincense and I'll just put a drop on my wrist and then rub my wrist together. It smells so good. And then I usually do a little bit on my chest or my heart. I have kind of a high tank top on today, but usually I'll get a little closer to my heart and really just start to rub that in. Okay, so once that is on your body, let's just take one more minute to kind of close in and take another short minute of meditation to again see that anger burning, recycling, and then being transformed into something new based on the card that you pulled today. Okay? Couple deep breaths. And see how visual you can get today. Can you really start to see? Maybe the anger you feel like you're holding in your chest or your heart and just starting to like float out of your body. As it floats from your body and we find that detachment, that cutting of that energetic cord to the anger, letting it burst into some flames. And just visualizing those flames flickering. And then allowing some of that smoke from the fire then start to take shape into that recycled form that serves your soul, that serves you on the deepest cellular level and allows your body to heal. That creates an environment for the deepest, deepest healing within you. And start to fill yourself up with some of those better feeling thoughts, knowing that it's always okay and it will always be okay to have anger. But But today we're just inviting our body to have a healthy outlet to release it. And imagine that transformation that you just visualized as this weight coming off your shoulders. And sit a little taller through your spine. Let your shoulders relax. And invite lightness into your body, your physical body and your energy body, supporting this release and healing at a cellular level. One more deep breath. And then just blink open your eyes, start to bring your surroundings back in, just taking notice of the environment. Okay, lovelies. I'd love to hear your feedback on what that was like for you, what that experience was. And thank you so much for joining me for day 1 of Soul Discovery. If you are listening to the recording, please post any questions you have. I'll be happy to come back and answer any of the questions you have on today. And I will see you guys tomorrow for day 2 of this challenge. I do challenge you guys to do this every single day for 5 days so that by Friday night, you're feeling fucking fantabulous and you have really just released and let go of some of the deeper emotional roots to what might be holding you back in your healing. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you tomorrow.